What if I told you that one of the most powerful women in the world once wore dresses made from potato sacks? That the billionaire who would interview presidents and inspire millions was born to an unmarried teenage mother in rural Mississippi, so poor that her name was misspelled on her birth certificate? This is the story of Oprah Winfrey. And it's not just about how she became a media mogul. It's about how she transformed pain into purpose, adversity into advantage, and a broken beginning into one of the most influential legacies of our time. Because here's what Oprah proved: your starting point doesn't determine your destination. Your wounds can become your wisdom, and the voice that was once silenced can become the voice that changes the world. So if you've ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or like the odds are stacked against you, this story is for you. Oprah Gail Winfrey was born on January 29, 1954, in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. Her grandmother was so poor that young Oprah wore dresses made from potato sacks. The other children mocked her. She remembers her grandmother saying, "You better get used to doing without because you'll never have anything." But Oprah's grandmother also taught her to read by age 3. She'd stand in front of the church congregation reciting Bible verses, and people would whisper, "That child is gifted, even in poverty." There were seeds of something extraordinary being planted. At age 6, Oprah was sent to live with her mother in Milwaukee. What should have been a fresh start became a nightmare. Between the ages of 9 and 13, she was repeatedly sexually abused by male relatives and family friends. She felt worthless, damaged, and utterly alone. At 14, she became pregnant. Her son was born prematurely and died in infancy. This is the part of Oprah's story that would break most people. This is where many would have given up, believing that life had dealt them an impossible hand. But here's what happened instead. Oprah was sent to live with her father, Vernon Winfrey, in Nashville. He was strict, disciplined, and believed in her potential. He made her read books and write reports. He set a curfew. He demanded excellence. And most importantly, he saw value in her when she couldn't see it in herself. In high school, Oprah discovered her voice. She joined the drama club and entered a speaking contest sponsored by the local black radio station. She won. They offered her a job. At 16 years old, Oprah Winfrey was reading news on the radio. Think about that. The girl who was abused and told she'd never amount to anything was now speaking 2000s. The voice that perpetrators tried to silence was being broadcast across the airwaves. After high school, she earned a full scholarship to Tennessee State University. While still in college, she became the first black female news anchor at Nashville's WLAC-TV. She was 19. But Oprah wasn't satisfied just reading the news. She wanted to connect. She wanted to feel. She wanted conversations, not just broadcasts. And in 1984, she got her chance. Oprah moved to Chicago to host a struggling morning talk show called AM Chicago. It was last in the ratings, competing against the legendary Phil Donahue. Everyone thought she was making a career mistake. Within months, AM Chicago went from last place to first. Within a year, it was renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show. And within 3 years, it was syndicated nationally. But what made Oprah different? Why did millions of people tune in every day for 25 years? It wasn't just her charisma or her interviewing skills. It was her authenticity. Oprah did something revolutionary. She brought her whole self to the screen, wounds and all. She talked about her abuse, her weight struggles, her insecurities, her failures. She cried with her guests. She celebrated with them. She made viewers feel seen, heard, and understood. In a world where media personalities wore masks of perfection, Oprah showed up human. And people loved her for it. She interviewed everyone from presidents to pop stars, abuse survivors to spiritual teachers. She turned unknown authors into bestsellers with her book club. She used her platform to shine a light on social issues, from education to child abuse. The show became more than entertainment. It became a movement, but Oprah didn't stop at hosting a talk show. In 1986, she formed her own production company, Harpo Productions. Oprah spelled backward, becoming the first black woman to own a production company. She took control of her show, her image, and her destiny. She launched the Oprah magazine, she started the Oprah Winfrey Network. She produced films and Broadway shows. She became one of the world's most generous philanthropists, donating hundreds of millions to education, including building a leadership academy for girls in South Africa. By the time the Oprah Winfrey Show ended in 2011, she had interviewed over 37,000 people and was worth billions. But more importantly, she had inspired millions to believe in themselves, to heal from trauma, to live their best lives. So what's the real lesson here? How did a girl born into poverty and abuse become one of the most influential people on earth? Oprah once said, "Turn your wounds into wisdom." She didn't hide from her pain. She transformed it. Every struggle became a source of empathy. Every setback became a setup for a comeback. She used her voice not just to tell stories, but to give voice to the voiceless. She also understood something profound. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with truth. When Oprah shared her struggles with weight, millions of women felt less alone. When she talked about abuse, survivors felt permission to heal. Her vulnerability became her superpower. And perhaps most importantly, Oprah never stopped believing in possibility. Even when life tried to convince her she was worthless, some part of her held onto the belief that she was meant for something more. She bet on herself when no one else would. So here's what I want you to take from Oprah's story. Your past doesn't have to define your future. The little girl in potato sacks became a billionaire. The abuse survivor became a healer for millions. The girl whose name was misspelled on her birth certificate now has her name on magazines, networks, and schools around the world. Whatever you're facing right now, whatever circumstances you were born into, whatever mistakes you've made or trauma you've endured, remember this: Oprah Winfrey was molested, impoverished, and pregnant at 14. And she still became Oprah. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Your dreams are valid. Don't let anyone, including yourself, convince you otherwise. Start where you are. Use what you have. Be authentic. Transform your pain into purpose. And most importantly, believe in the possibility of your own greatness, even when no one else does. Because if Oprah taught us anything, it's this: the best way to predict your future is to create it. Now go out there and write your own extraordinary story. If this inspired you, hit that like button, subscribe for more motivational content, and drop a comment telling me what you're going to create with your life. I'll see you in the next one.